All right, welcome in everyone, kicking off another deep dive here. And today we're going to be looking at something that at first glance might seem, maybe a little bit niche.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about the inner workings of modern accounting firms.
All right.
But I think for our listeners, understanding some of these shifts that are happening in this industry can offer some really valuable clues about efficiency, cost management,
Yes.
and even, kind of the future of professional services that you use every day.
Absolutely. I think what we've been looking at, the information we've been digging into comes from Servtec.
Okay.
And Servtec is really a company that's deeply embedded in the accounting world through their staffing solutions. And their perspective gives us, I think, a fascinating kind of behind-the-scenes look at the real pressures these firms are under and the really smart ways they're evolving.
Yeah.
So this isn't just about, balance sheets, debits, and credits. Right. It's really about how demanding professional sectors are adapting in a rapidly changing landscape.
That's a great point. And, I think for us, our mission in this deep dive is to really extract those crucial insights about the current state of accounting firms. The hurdles they face, the really ingenious solutions they're adopting, and present it all to you, our listener, in a clear, concise, hopefully entertaining way. I always think of it as like we're giving you the executive summary without having to wade through all the details yourself.
That's a good way to put it.
So to kick things off, what's the core challenge, from your perspective, having looked at all this research, that's driving a lot of these changes we're seeing in accounting firms right now?
Well, I think, one of the fundamental pressures that Servtec highlights is this escalating expectation for speed and pinpoint accuracy. In today's business environment, right, which is so hyper-connected, clients demand immediate insights into their financials. They want real-time visibility. And that puts immense strain on traditional, accounting workflows that are, frankly, much slower.
Yeah. It makes sense, right? We live in an on-demand world now.
Totally.
Where if I can track a package across the globe in seconds, waiting weeks for financial reports just feels
archaic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then it's not just about client expectations either.
Right.
The regulatory landscape itself is in a constant flux.
Oh, of course.
With new rules and compliance standards emerging all the time.
Right.
Firms are under tremendous pressure to stay ahead of these changes and ensure that, they're always operating within the legal boundaries.
Yeah.
So, think about the ever-changing data privacy regulations or the complexities of international tax laws. These require constant vigilance and real expertise.
It sounds like trying to hit a moving target while sprinting.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I imagine, I can only imagine that technology plays a huge role in all of this.
Absolutely. Integrating automation, it's not a nice to have anymore. It's a survival strategy.
Yeah.
So we're seeing this increased adoption of, cloud-based accounting software.
Right.
With AI-powered features for tasks like, invoice processing, data entry. This is fundamentally changing how this routine work is handled.
Right.
But, even with these technological advancements and the investments that they require, that relentless pressure to maintain healthy profit margins remains a critical concern for firms.
So it's this convergence of, demanding clients, complex regulations, the need for constant tech upgrades.
Yes.
And then, of course, the bottom line, it's a real pressure cooker.
Yeah, it is.
When I think about just my own experiences, whether I'm dealing with, business finances or even my personal taxes, I value efficiency, accuracy, and feeling like I'm getting value for money.
Yeah.
So drilling down a bit, what are the specific challenges that these pressures are creating for accounting firms on the ground?
Well, a significant one, and this is something that Servtec really emphasizes, is this growing challenge of finding and keeping skilled talent.
Oh, okay.
So, recruiting and retaining qualified accountants, auditors, bookkeepers, especially those with specialized expertise, is becoming increasingly difficult, particularly in today's competitive job market.
Yeah.
And you might be seeing similar trends in your own field.
Oh, absolutely.
The struggle to attract and hold on to top-tier professionals with the specific skills you need.
Talent acquisition feels like a constant battle across so many industries right now.
It really does.
So what's another key area where these accounting firms are feeling the pinch?
I think another major pain point is the sheer volume of time spent on what is considered non-billable work.
Okay.
So think about the hours dedicated to tasks like, reconciliations.
Yeah.
Basic bookkeeping.
Right.
Meticulous data entry.
Right.
While these tasks are fundamental, right, they consume a vast amount of time that could otherwise be allocated to higher value activities, such as providing, strategic financial advice to clients or developing new service offerings.
Yeah.
It's the classic scenario of being bogged down in essential groundwork when you could be focusing on growth and deeper client engagement.
Yeah, it resonates. It's like, being stuck managing emails when you should be strategizing for the future.
Exactly.
And I can only imagine, all that time spent on non-billable tasks, it's got to have a direct impact on their profitability, right?
It does, yeah. High operational costs represent another significant hurdle.
Okay.
And this includes not just competitive salary demands, but also the escalating costs of, essential software subscriptions.
Right.
And the ongoing investment required to stay compliant with those ever-evolving regulations we discussed.
Right.
These rising expenses can significantly constrain a firm's ability to invest in innovation, expand their services, or even just maintain competitive pricing for their clients.
So they're struggling to find the right people.
Yeah.
Those people are spending a lot of their time on, necessary but non-revenue generating tasks. And the basic costs of running the business are on the rise.
Yeah.
That paints a challenging picture.
It does, and it contributes directly to another critical issue, which is retention and turnover.
Okay.
The combination of, demanding workloads, particularly during peak seasons like tax season, right?
Of course.
The constant pressure for absolute accuracy, and sometimes a perceived lack of, clear career progression opportunities can lead to employee burnout. And high turnover, as you likely know from your own experience, disrupts team dynamics, increases recruitment costs, and can ultimately affect the consistency and quality of service that clients receive.
Yeah, definitely. Losing those experienced team members can really impact client relationships and the overall efficiency of a firm.
Exactly. And then finally, I think Servtec points to inefficiencies in processes and workflows.
Okay.
Without, well-integrated automation tools and streamlined procedures, firms can easily find themselves missing crucial deadlines or wasting valuable time on repetitive tasks that could be handled much more efficiently.
Right.
And this not only impacts their internal productivity, but it can also negatively affect client satisfaction due to delays or errors.
So it sounds like it's almost like a cascade of interconnected challenges, right?
Yeah, very much so.
Difficulty finding talent.
Yep.
That talent being tied up in less strategic work.
Yeah.
Rising costs, squeezing margins, leading to potential burnout and turnover.
Yes.
All compounded by, inefficient ways of working.
It all kind of, feeds into itself.
So with all these pressures, all these challenges, what are some of the innovative strategies that accounting firms are starting to adopt to not just cope, but to actually thrive?
Well, Servtec highlights two key emerging solutions that are gaining significant traction.
Okay.
One is staff augmentation, and the other is managed services.
Okay.
So let's look at staff augmentation first.
Okay.
So in this model, accounting firms bring in skilled professionals.
Okay.
Certified accountants, experienced bookkeepers, data analysts, on a permanent full-time basis to essentially expand their team and enhance their operational efficiency.
Okay.
The crucial aspect here is that these professionals often work remotely.
From, specialized service centers.
Okay.
And they become an integrated part of the firm's workforce.
So it's more than just like hiring temporary contractors.
Yes, it's a different model.
It's about strategically growing their team with dedicated professionals who just, might be located elsewhere.
Exactly.
That allows them to tap into like a wider talent pool than just their local area.
Absolutely. And then the second key solution is managed services.
Okay.
And this involves firms outsourcing entire operational functions, right?
Okay.
Things like day-to-day bookkeeping, routine financial reporting, even payroll management, to an external provider specializing in these areas. The core idea here is to offload these essential but often time-intensive tasks.
Right.
And this frees up the accounting firm's in-house team to focus on their core competencies, right? Activities like complex tax planning, strategic financial consulting, and building strong, lasting client relationships.
So to put it simply, staff augmentation is about boosting your internal capacity with external talent. And managed services is about handing off entire operational areas to outside experts.
That is an excellent way to summarize the distinction.
Okay, cool.
And both approaches, right, are designed to help accounting firms significantly increase their capacity and improve their overall efficiency.
Right.
Without solely relying on this traditional model of constantly hiring and training in-house staff, which, as we've discussed, can be a costly and challenging endeavor in the current climate.
So this is where it gets really interesting for me, I think.
Okay.
What are the tangible benefit that accounting firms are actually realizing by embracing these strategies? What kind of impact are they having?
According to Servtec, the advantages are substantial.
So firstly, these solutions provide firms with access to a much broader pool of highly qualified and specialized talent.
Okay.
They can tap into professionals with deep expertise in areas like intricate reconciliations, niche tax regulations, and advanced financial reporting, skills that might be difficult or prohibitively expensive to find within their local hiring market.
Makes perfect sense. It's like having a team of specialists on demand.
Totally.
Without the overhead of hiring them all directly in-house.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's great. What else?
Secondly, these outsourced services often come with kind of built-in best practices and robust technology platforms, right?
Okay.
Leading to cleaner and more organized data management. So providers who specialize in these functions typically have sophisticated systems in place.
Right.
Ensuring financial data is accurate, well-structured, and readily available for insightful reporting and analysis.
And for someone like you or me who relies on that accurate financial information, that foundation of clean data is absolutely critical for making informed decisions.
No question.
That's a huge benefit.
It is. And here's a particularly compelling point.
Okay.
Servtec indicates potential cost savings of up to 70% by utilizing remote professionals through staff augmentation or outsourcing entire functions via managed services compared to the cost of hiring and maintaining equivalent in-house teams.
70%?
Yeah, up to 70%.
Wow. That's not just incremental savings.
No.
That's a fundamental shift in cost structure.
It is.
How are they achieving such significant reductions?
It's primarily through differences in salary and benefits costs associated with professionals working in various geographic locations with different costs of living.
Right.
Additionally, firms can significantly reduce expenses related to office space, infrastructure, and other overhead associated with a large in-house team by leveraging these external solutions.
That's a massive financial lever.
It is.
What other concrete benefits are accounting firms experiencing?
Well, Servtec also highlights the fast and seamless onboarding of qualified professionals.
Okay.
Because these providers specialize in staffing and operational support.
Yeah.
They have established processes for quickly integrating new team members or taking over functions with minimal disruption to the accounting firm's existing workflow.
That's huge.
It is.
Yeah.
Furthermore, by offloading those time-consuming non-core tasks, the in-house teams can really focus on maximizing their billable hours, right? Concentrating their efforts on those higher-value client interactions and strategic advisory services that drive revenue.
So their core team can dedicate more time to client relationships and strategic growth.
Exactly.
Which not only benefits the firm financially, but also likely increases job satisfaction, I would think.
Yeah, I agree.
For their key employees who can focus on, more engaging and impactful work.
Totally.
Yeah. That makes sense.
And finally, the global nature of many of these service providers means that accounting firms can potentially access around-the-clock support.
Right.
This ensures continuity of workflow across different time zones and provides critical support during peak seasons when workload is typically at its highest.
Yeah.
That 247 coverage can be a game changer, especially for firms with international clients or tight deadlines.
Yeah, it sounds like a really compelling set of advantages.
It really does.
Do we have any real world examples
We do.
of how these strategies are playing out?
Yeah. Servtec shares a telling example of a mid-sized accounting firm that partnered with them.
Okay.
And this firm experienced that significant 70% reduction in their staffing and operational expenses.
Wow.
Validating those, potential cost savings we discussed.
Yeah.
But beyond the financial impact, they also saw a remarkable 40% acceleration in their tax filings and reports.
A 40% acceleration is huge.
It's huge.
That would translate to, faster turnaround times and
Yeah.
potentially, happier clients.
Absolutely.
Right.
And as a direct result of these efficiencies and the increased capacity to focus on client relationships, the firm reported a 30% increase in their billable hours.
Wow.
This clearly demonstrates the link between, operational improvements and revenue growth.
Right.
And perhaps most importantly, they also saw elevated levels of client satisfaction and loyalty,
Right.
indicating that these internal strategic changes were directly translating into better service delivery for their clients.
So it's a virtuous cycle.
Yeah, it is.
The accounting firm becomes more efficient and cost-effective, allowing them to provide better service, leading to happier and more loyal clients.
Absolutely.
It really underscores how these, seemingly behind-the-scenes operational shifts can have a profound positive impact on the end-user experience.
I agree.
So bringing this back to, you, our listener, why should you, someone who might not be running an accounting firm, find this all so interesting?
Well, even if you're not managing an accounting practice,
Right.
understanding these fundamental shifts within, a crucial professional services industry offers valuable insights into how businesses are adapting to pressure in today's environment.
Yeah.
You are likely a consumer of professional services in some capacity, right?
Right.
And seeing how firms are striving for efficiency, accuracy, and cost effectiveness can illuminate the factors that influence the service you receive and potentially the fees you pay.
Right.
It also reflects a broader trend in the world of work where specialization and leveraging external expertise are becoming increasingly prevalent strategies for success.
It definitely prompts you to think about, the efficiency of your own operations, whether you're managing personal finances or running a business of any size.
Totally.
I mean, these core principles of, streamlining processes, focusing on your core strengths, and strategically leveraging external support
Absolutely.
seem universally applicable.
I agree.
Yeah, this is really fascinating. And I think this deep dive into the accounting world provides like a really concrete illustration
It does.
of how organizations are embracing these new models to not just survive, but to thrive in the face of evolving demands. And it leads us to, I think, a really interesting final thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
So as technology continues its rapid advancement and global connectivity further expands, what other traditionally in-house functions might we see undergoing similar shifts towards specialized external support
Interesting.
across various industries?
Yeah.
And perhaps more importantly for you, our listener, what implications could this have for businesses like yours in terms of managing costs, improving efficiency, and accessing specialized expertise in the future?
It is a significant trend to consider.
It is.
As the landscape of how we work continues to evolve.
Well, thank you so much for walking us through this deep dive into the changing world of accounting firms.
My pleasure.
It's been incredibly insightful to unpack these challenges and the really forward-thinking solutions being adopted.
Yeah.
So until our next deep dive, keep those questions coming.
Absolutely.
Let's see you soon.
Sounds good.